Welcome to the Bold and Determined Podcast with your man Victor Pride. And right here on the Podcast for Winners, we're bringing you motivation and mindset for the killers and real dealers, the makers and the takers, the winners and the grinners, and goddamn, even the sinners too. Let's get started. Ooh-wee! Welcome back to the Bold and Determined Podcast with your man Victor Pride. I tell you what, friends, I'm dealing with a nasty carbohydrate hangover. As regular listeners of this show know, I do not like to eat carbohydrates. I like to eat meat. Well, I broke my own rules, and I'll tell you why. I've been doing a bit of traveling recently. In fact, I spent 30 hours in airports and airplanes over the weekend, as it were. And one of the great pleasures of going to a new country and visiting a new culture is trying the local cuisine. I did that, and today I'm paying the price. Let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about my travel. I spent some time in the United States, and my time came to an end. Here I am now in a new place, and that's that. Now, on my travels, I had 3 separate airplane rides to get me to where I was going. And my first plane left at midnight local time. That was an easy flight. It was about 4 hours to New York City, and I pretty much slept on that plane ride. Now, in New York City, what can I say about New York City? I've never been to New York City except for about 4 hours at the airport. And judging by the airport in New York City, it's not a place I ever want to go. New York City, to me, again, I'm judging by the airport, not by the city. That's one of the ugliest places I've ever been in my life because the people I saw were some of the ugliest people I've ever seen in my life. It seems to me that every multicultural neighborhood or every multicultural city is ugly beyond belief. And that's what I saw in the people. In New York City at the airport, just ugly, ugly people. Now, no offense to any New York City listeners, because New York City is the second biggest city for the readership and for the listenership of the Bold and Determined blog and podcast. London is the first. But my goodness, not a place I want to go. To me, it was very, very ugly. And what I mean is the people were very, very ugly. And not just ugly in appearance, but ugly in spirit, ugly in attitude. That's what I mean by ugly. Just I don't even know what the right word is. Just not people I want to be around. Not people I'd ever want to be around. It's not that they weren't friendly. It's that I could sense evil coming from them. That's the best way I can describe it. Every multicultural place I've ever been to, every multicultural neighborhood, I sense evil. And I haven't done any research on this, but I heard that New York City has legalized abortion up to the delivery date of the child. That's just crazy to me. That's insane. And I heard, now again, I did not research this. I'm just telling you what I heard because I don't watch the news. I don't read the news. The only way I get my news is by listening to other people who I enjoy listening to, and then they talk about something and then I absorb it that way. But I heard that people in New York City were cheering for the fact that they can now kill their baby up to the day that it is born. Cheering for this. Friends, this is modern day child sacrifice. We think we're so hip and so modern and so cool and so above it all and so beyond nature. But actually people are all the same. We hear about child sacrifice in the pagan cultures and the boogeyman there. Well, guess what? It's still going on. Today it's called abortion instead of child sacrifice. It's the same thing. Now, I don't believe in good and evil. I believe that they are on the same spectrum. I believe that they are man-made concepts. But I'm going to break my own belief and tell you, killing babies is evil. It just is. Shouldn't do it. You shouldn't kill babies. You shouldn't sacrifice children. If you get pregnant, you should have the baby. That's my belief. I believe that's very bad karma to kill children. Call me crazy. Call me a kook, call me a religious nut conservative. I don't think you should kill babies. Even if they're not born yet, I don't think you should kill them. I think you should have them and take care of them. And I think that they can provide you a lot of joy. And knowing that New York City has now legalized killing babies up to the day it is born, and seeing those downright evil people in the New York City airport, I don't have high hopes for my country. I just don't. My country seems like it is in a death spiral. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I do not refuse to admit reality. I will never deny reality, and I'll never deny what I see. People who deny reality are in for a very rude awakening in the future. A very rude awakening. People who deny the laws of nature do not deserve to live in nature, and they won't. And what I mean by denying the laws of nature, nature says if you get pregnant, you have the baby and you raise the baby. Nature does not say you kill your own babies. In nature, survival is of the utmost importance, and entities that kill their own progeny ensure that they do not survive. They commit suicide, even though they don't understand that killing your baby is the same thing as killing yourself. It's the same thing as committing suicide. These people ensure that they do not have a future. They just don't understand that. They think that they're above nature. They think that they're above the laws of nature. They think that they can do anything they want because it's their body and their choice. Hey, that's great. You're dead. You're going to be dead. And that's what I see in America, a culture that is committing suicide. It is downright committing suicide. If you disobey the laws of nature, you die. If you don't ensure the survival of your species, you die. If you're lackadaisical about the survival of your species, you die. If you kill your own species, your own blood, you die. Now, I don't want to sound like Alex Jones, but you know, and I know, that I have to tell you the truth. I don't have it in my being to tell you a lie. I would love to sit here and tell you lies. That's the truth. I'd love to sit here and make dollars and cents from you day after day after day. I'd love to lie to you and bleed you dry of all of your money, but I can't. I've got to tell you the truth. There's going to come a day of reckoning in the United States, and all of the people who broke the laws of nature and did not ensure their survival, and who did not care about their survival, and who killed their own survival. There's going to come a day of reckoning for these people. This is not a biblical prophecy. God is not going to come down and offer a flood or a sea of fire. No. It's going to be other people who do follow the laws of nature that are going to come and slit throats. Nature demands that people who want to survive will survive, and people who want to die will die. And that's what I see in America. That's why I had to get out of America. I see people who don't want to survive, and they're not going to. I see them being taken over by people who do want to survive, people who don't kill their own children, people who fight to live. Nature demands that you fight to survive. And if you become too complacent, too lazy, too lackadaisical, too downright suicidal, it's bye-bye for you. What does all that have to do with carbohydrate hangover? I have no idea. I'm just free-flowing right now, friends. You know, and I know that I normally answer your questions, but many of the questions I've been receiving lately are beneath me. So I've decided to take a different approach and just yammer into the microphone and tell you what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, what I'm researching, and that kind of thing. I will answer some of the questions, but I'm not going to answer all of the questions anymore. One thing that started happening is that I would answer a question in an episode, and in the comments for that episode, somebody would ask me the exact same question I just answered in the episode. Can you believe that? You might have noticed my snippy attitude in the past few episodes. Well, that might be the reason why. I also get the same question over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I know you're sick of that, and I'm sick of that. So carbohydrate hangover. I traveled for 30 hours, and I took a 10-hour flight from New York City to Qatar. And on that plane ride, I brought some beef and some cheese with me, and that's what I ate on the plane ride. I did not eat any airplane food whatsoever on this trip, but when I got to Qatar, I thought, you know what, I'm never going to be in Qatar again. Let me try some of the local food. So I had a plate of chicken and rice and a fresh squeezed orange juice for the low price of $25 in the Qatar airport, and I slept like a baby after that. I slept for 4 hours after that. Now, I did get brain fog nearly immediately. I can't tell you if it was from the rice or from the orange juice. Now, 100% the orange juice will give me brain fog. I'm 100% sure about that. I'm not sure about the rice because this was the first time I've had rice in 8 months. So the topic of rice is going to come up a little bit later in today's show. I am interested in seeing what happens when eating solely rice and no other sugar like orange juice or anything else like that. Now, the food was very good. It was an Indian-style dish of chicken and rice. It's very tasty. It's very good. It's fine to eat every once in a while. Now, you know that I only like to eat meat, and there's a very specific reason I like to eat only meat. When you eat sugar, you experience a very stark cognitive decline aka brain fog, aka the inability to think straight. And it is only when you completely cut out the sugar from your diet that you have a completely clear head and a completely clear ability to think and to study and to speak and to yada, yada, yada. When I add any form of carbohydrates, I experience a very stark cognitive decline. And this leads me to the very obvious conclusion: sugar's not good for you. And as we all know, carbohydrates are sugar. All carbs are sugar. All carbs digest as sugar. Therefore, I eliminate carbohydrates from my diet. And when I do, I become completely clear-headed, completely calm, completely serene. And another funny thing happens when you go onto an all-meat diet. You are able to experience every new food you eat. You understand right away what that food does to you. When you cut out all foods and eat just meat, and then you have a cup of tea, you can see clearly how that cup of tea reacts. If you have a cup of coffee, you can understand how that cup of coffee reacts. And we like to think that coffee is a cognitive enhancer, makes you think better, makes you more clear. That's simply not true. Now, I do drink a coffee at the beginning of every episode, but that's my little ritual. I don't do it because it enhances my cognitive abilities, because it does not. Coffee gives you brain fog. That's the downright truth. And if you cut out coffee for 30 days and cut out carbohydrates for 30 days, you will understand that. And that is one of the great benefits of the all-meat diet. You're able to easily understand how each food affects you. If you cut out carbs and you have a glass of orange juice, you know exactly how orange juice affects you. Or if you have a plate of rice and chicken, you're able to understand how your body reacts to the rice and chicken. Now, I made a bit of a big mistake. I ate carbs 3 days in a row. Now, I only ate one meal a day, but for those one meal a day, I did have carbs. So the first one was the chicken and rice. The second one was a local dish where I am, which is a pizza style dish, which is a nice bread with some cheese on it, no sauce, but that's kind of the local flavor. So I wanted to try that because one of the great joys of visiting a new country is eating their cuisine. So I tried that. I ordered way too much and I had some leftovers in the fridge. So again, the next night for dinner, I ate the leftovers. Big mistake, because the day after that, which would be the fourth day, I had carbs 3 days in a row. And on the fourth day, I was trying to read a text that is not so dense at all, but I was having a very difficult time reading it, paying attention to it, and retaining the knowledge. So it's very clear. It's very obvious to me, through trial and error, that eating carbohydrates is not good for you. It's simply not good for you. It's not good for the cognitive abilities. And I'll tell you something else. My body does not recover from exercise as well when I add in carbohydrates. We think that, rather, we're told the carbs help you heal from a hard workout, sugar helps you heal from a hard workout. Simply not true in my case. I recover so much better when I don't have any carbohydrates in the diet whatsoever. So through the process of trial and error, it has become clear to me that to have a clear head requires a total absence of sugar in the diet. To have great recovery ability from strong exercise requires a complete absence of sugar in the diet. Where does that leave cheat meals? That's a great question. I'm not against cheat meals every now and again. I am against eating sugar 2 days in a row. I feel that is far too much. Every 3.5 days for a cheat meal, I'm good on that cycle. I'm good on that schedule. But any more than that, and I experience a very sharp cognitive decline. And I know what you're thinking. But Victor, science says vegetables and fruits and grains and legumes and wheat is good for you. Let me tell you something about science. Science will leave you stupid, sick, and weak. People who listen to science are people who do not listen to their own bodies. People who rely on scientific studies always going to be inferior, mentally inferior, and physically inferior. The only way to know if something works or does not work is through trial and error. And the people who rely on scientific data do no trial and error of their own. They outsource trial and error to what they think is science. Now, science is not fact. Science is not stone cold fact. Science is what some people think at that exact moment. If science were fact, the science would not change year by year, decade by decade. But the science is constantly evolving. You know why it's constantly evolving? Because it isn't true. It has never been true. It never will be true. Science exists to get you to do something you would never do on your own. And it's easy for the so-called science to get you to do something you would never do on your own because you believe in science like people of the past believed in God. Science is your new God and you don't question it. You think, okay, well, a science study says that. I'm just going to go ahead and eat whole grain wheat with some fruit, some vegetables. That's going to be real great for me. Well, if you had the trial and error, you would know those foods are absolutely terrible for you. But since you outsource this to other people. You'll never understand that. You're always going to think that you're right, but you're never going to have the experience of being well, of being mentally clear, physically healthy, calm, and serene. And you don't deserve it. I tell you that. If you rely on science to tell you how to eat, to tell you how to live, you don't deserve to be healthy. If you outsource your health to people who are not you, you don't deserve health. Simple as that. You know why? Because when you outsource your health and care and wellness of your own body, you break the laws of nature. Nature demands that you try something and see if it works or does not work. Nature also demands that if you do something that does not work, you stop doing it. But that's not what we see in the modern world. People are told by what they think is their new god, which is science, to eat whole grain wheat, legumes, beans, vegetables, fruits. They're told to eat this, and they eat it, and they don't question it, and they don't have any clue how ill and mentally unstable they actually are because they never question it. Just like people of the past never questioned the church. The science people of today are the same people who burned witches of the past. They're the same people who did not question the church. Do you deny science? Do you deny God? These are the same people, the exact same people. Science is the new religion. It's the new opiate of the masses. And it's a big mistake to rely on science. And I'll tell you why it's a big mistake to rely on science. When you outsource the care of your own body, you're never going to get good results because nobody cares about you more than you care about yourself. So when you outsource the care of your own body, nobody cares about you. If you outsource the care of your body to doctors and hospitals, they don't care about you as much as they care about themselves. And why would somebody be a doctor? To help people? Come on, don't make me laugh. Why would somebody be a doctor? Think about this question in your mind. Why would somebody be a doctor? To make a lot of money? Yeah, that's one reason, but that's not the primary reason. Why would somebody be a doctor? Somebody becomes a doctor to achieve social status. Number one. To make money, number two. And to help people, number three. Now, if you're sick, what do you want most in the world? To get well. But you outsource your wellness program to a doctor or to a hospital. What does the doctor want most? Social status. That has nothing to do with your health and wellness. Absolutely nothing. What do they want, number two? Number two, they want money. Number three, they want to help you. But number two conflicts with number three. If they cure you, guess what stops? The money you pay them stops. If they cure you, they stop making money from you. And we know that they care about their money more than they care about your health. You know why? That is a law of nature. You never care about somebody else more than you care about yourself. There is no animal in nature that cares about another animal's well-being more than it cares about its own well-being. All people on earth care about their well-being more than your well-being. And part of their well-being is making money. And doctors exist to make money at your expense. And you know why? They deserve it. You know why? Because if you're so stupid to outsource the health, care, and wellness of your own being, if you're so stupid to do that, you don't deserve to be healthy. You deserve to have everything taken from you. That is a law of nature. If you outsource the care of your own body to another being, it is the same as committing suicide. Nobody will care about you more than you care about yourself. So when you rely on doctors to help you, hospitals to help you, science to help you, guess what? The doctor is going to help himself first. The hospital is going to help the hospital first. Science is going to help science first. And science is funded by companies. Those companies have an agenda. Those companies want to survive and thrive, and they will do it at your expense because this is a law of nature. If you're too stupid to take care of your own self and you outsource the care of yourself to science or to hospitals or to doctors, yes, they'll pretend to provide that for you at a very deep cost. And the cost is you will not get healthy. You will always stay sick if you outsource the care of your body to somebody else. Why? Nature demands this. In nature, nobody gives a damn about you. All people, all beings care about their own survival. And when a being does not care about its survival, the wolves come in to feed. And that's what happens when you rely on science or hospitals or doctors. The wolves come to feed on you. And you know what? That's exactly what you deserve. In nature, there is no such thing as empathy or sympathy. These emotions have been taught to you by religion, by governments, by schools. You have outsourced your own education And guess what happens when you outsource your education? You don't get a proper education. Just like you don't get proper health care when you outsource the health and wellness of your own body. When you outsource your education or your spirituality to a religion, to a government, or to a school, the same thing happens. The people who you outsource this to use it to their advantage and not to yours. And guess what? It is to other people's advantage to teach you to be a slave, to teach you to have slave emotions like empathy and sympathy. These are slave emotions that ensure your masters will always be able to take advantage of you. And you'll not do anything about it because you're too stupid, you're too weak, you're too docile, you're too domesticated, and it's your own fault. You outsourced your belief system to others. You stopped relying on your ancestors, and you started to rely on religion, governments, schools, universities. When you stop having your best interest at heart, you become food. You become a docile little lamb for hungry wolves. And that's exactly what you deserve. When you outsource all of the things, people today outsource everything. They outsource the production of their food. They outsource the preparation of their food. They outsource their education. They outsource their spirituality. They outsource the running of their daily lives. They outsource their own health, their own wellness, their own well-being. That is why people today are slaves, and they have slave emotions like empathy, sympathy, and humility. And that's exactly what they deserve. Jake asked, can you please expand on the concept of slave emotions like humility? Why are these slave emotions? How can you avoid them? And what are the opposite or master emotions? Slave emotions are anything that you would not experience in nature. In nature, you would fight to survive. You would fight to win. You would take control of your own health, your own wellness. You would listen only to your blood, your ancestors, your people. You would not outsource all of your daily life. You would not outsource all of your daily needs to people who don't have your best interest at heart. The only people who have your best interest at heart is your bloodline, your blood, your people. Anybody else is only concerned about themselves and their own. That is a law of nature. Idiot people today are divorced from nature. They don't understand nature. And they think it's good to be humble. It's good to be unselfish. It's good to be selfless. It's good to be sympathetic and empathetic. And that's why modern people are retarded slaves. Here's what a modern person does. They say, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. I don't know what to do. You just tell me. Okay, thanks, teacher. I'll be humble. I'll be empathetic. I'll be sympathetic. Thanks for teaching me. That's a modern idiot. Somebody who does not take the time to think about things in a logical manner. It is not in the laws of nature to be emotional about things. But look around you. People are overly emotional. This leads them to be easily manipulated. If I just say, hey, it's for your best interest if you give me all your money, and then I'll give you health. And you say, really? Okay, here's all my money, give me health. Oh, whoops. If I actually made you healthy, I wouldn't get any more of your money. So let's ensure that you don't actually get healthy. Let's ensure that I have a constant stream of money coming in. Because you're too stupid to take your life into your own hands, I'm going to take your life from you, little by little. There is a vlogger on YouTube named Furious Pete. Furious Pete made two big mistakes. Furious Pete got cancer in his testicles. What did he do? He went to the doctor and said, hey doctor, what should I do? The doctor said, Furious Pete, you've got cancer in one of your balls. We're going to cut it off. Don't worry, we'll leave the other one. This will surely fix you. Just pay us for it. Furious Pete said, really? Okay, go ahead and cut one of my balls off, doctor. There was just one problem with that. Furious Pete then got cancer in the other ball. Furious Pete made another big mistake. He went back to the doctor and he said, doctor, I've got cancer in my other ball. What should I do? The doctor said, we're going to have to cut off that other ball. Of course, it's going to cost you a nice sum of money. Furious Pete said, okay, doc, cut off my other ball and get rich in the process. Now, before you said, if we cut off my other ball, I'd still have this one and I'd be fine. I'd be able to live a normal life. The doctor said, yeah, but we got to cut off the other one now. And you got to pay for it. It's in your own best interest, Furious Pete. So Furious Pete said, okay, cut off my other ball. Now Furious Pete doesn't have any balls. And the doctors who cut his balls out for him, because he outsourced his own care, his own well-being, the doctors surely made a nice sum of money cutting the man's balls off. Now let's just imagine Furious Pete lived 1,000 years ago. He lived with his own clan, his own bloodline. They prepared all of their own food from natural ingredients. They hunted their own food. They didn't outsource the production of their own food. They didn't go to the store and buy food in a box. They didn't go to restaurants and buy food that they had no idea how it was prepared using unnatural ingredients. They didn't use any unnatural ingredients whatsoever because they made everything by themselves, as the law of nature demands you do if you want to be healthy. Let's imagine that. Let's imagine Furious Pete lived with his own blood, his own people, and they had their best interest at heart and they did not give a damn about you. Do you think Furious Pete would still have his balls today if he did not outsource everything else in his life? I'll tell you what, it's a guarantee he'd still have testicles today if he did not outsource everything. You see, friends, you outsource everything in this life. It ends up costing you everything and giving you nothing in return. Doctors are not here to help you. They are here to harm you and make money while doing it. If they helped you, they would stop making money. Can you understand this? Most people cannot. That is why most people end up getting butt fucked by the doctor, because they cannot understand this very simple concept, this law of nature. You must care about yourself more than anybody else. And if you outsource the care of yourself to somebody else, you might as well pull down your pants, bend over, spread your butt cheeks, and prepare to get butt fucked. Because the law of nature demands you get butt fucked if you outsource the care of yourself to somebody else. The law of nature demands you get eaten by a hungry wolf if you're a docile little lamb. This is the number one law of nature that every man must follow if he wants to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. Take care of yourself first. You hear about athletes who made tens of millions of dollars in their career, and they outsourced the management of their own money to money managers, accountants, financial analysts, and then they lost all of their money. Well, guess what? They deserve to lose all of their money for not taking control. If you give somebody else control of your resources, they're going to take it from you, and that is their right to do it, because that is what nature demands. If somebody is stupid enough to say, here's all of my money, can you help me make more of it? Yeah, I can do that. Just give me all your money. Yeah, I'll help you make more. Sure. Can you understand how stupid it is to outsource everything in your life? You have to take control. You have to be in control of every little detail of your life. Everything. Your money, your health, everything. Because if you don't, guess what? You're going to end up castrated like a farm animal. #Game asks, hi Uncle Vic, you suggest interracial kids are not ideal in the long run. I definitely want to have kids and a loving partner. Would interracial marriage still be bad if I am dating up to a race superior than mine? I have narrowed down my choices to girls from Eastern Europe and the Balkans. I am Indian, a country where beef is illegal, pork is hard to find, feminism is on a rise, and the cultural narrative is going down a rabbit hole. I think I would be in a better position to raise strong sons and feminine daughters in the former Soviet Union. I have been to those countries. Money will not be an issue as I am on track with my business, and I'm willing to learn Russian. Okay, is it still a bad idea to have interracial children if you're marrying up to a superior race? It is always a bad idea to have interracial children, whether you are marrying up or marrying down. Tell me, where do you see interracial children in nature? You see them absolutely nowhere. It goes against the fundamental laws of nature to have children with a race not of your own. You break the laws of nature when you do this. When you break the laws of nature, you commit suicide. If you have a child who is a race not of your own, your bloodline ends. Your family line does not continue. It ends. It's dead. Think about how you got to where you are today. The reason you are the way you are today is because for generations, for thousands of years, your ancestors followed the laws of nature. They followed the laws of nature to have you, to produce you, product of their blood. And now what do you want to do? You want to spit in the face of your ancestors. You want to spit in the face of nature and kill your line by having a mixed race child. Well, guess whose face this is going to blow up in? You're not going to win against nature. You're only going to harm yourself. Having mixed race children is suicide of the blood, whether you are dating up or down. It is suicide of the blood. And it is so selfish to want your child to be mixed race. It is beyond selfish. Now in nature, it is good to be selfish because you must ensure the continuation of your bloodline. But when you have mixed race children, you do not ensure the continuation of your bloodline. You try to satisfy your ego. You become highly egotistical And people who are highly egotistical are going to be brought down to earth one way or another. You cannot defy the laws of nature and experience success. So, for an Indian man to want to have a half-white, half-Indian child is extreme vanity, narcissism, and selfishness. Think about the world from the eyes of your mixed-race child who is neither Indian nor white. How do you think a half-Indian child is going to fit in a white society in the Soviet Union? Do you think they're going to be accepted by the whites there? No, they're not. Do you think that that child is then going to be able to go to India and be accepted by the Indians? No, they're not. Do you know what the worst thing that can happen in a tribal society is? It's not death. The worst thing that can happen in a tribal society is banishment to the wilderness. Humans belong in groups. Humans can only survive in groups that they belong to. Guess who doesn't belong in any group? A mixed race child. A child who is half brown, half white, will never belong in white society, will never belong in Indian society. You banish your blood. This is the height of stupidity to have a mixed race child. You banish your blood into the wilderness. You commit suicide of the bloodline when you have a mixed race child. You spit in the face of nature, but guess what? It's windy, and that spit returns and hits you right in the face. So is it bad to have a mixed race child if you are dating up to a superior race? It is beyond bad. It is death of the bloodline. You are Indian. Be Indian. Be who you are. Do not spit in the face of your ancestors. Do not spit in the face of your own culture. You are who you are, and you must be that. Whether you are black, white, red, or brown, you must be who you are, and you must be proud of who you are, and you must honor your ancestors and not in the bloodline because of some modern rules like beef being illegal, pork being hard to find, and feminism on the rise. That is temporary. Your bloodline is forever unless you terminate it. India has a great past. Just because it does not have a great present does not mean it cannot be great again. How do you know that your people will not have a great future? How can you predict that? You cannot predict that. You cannot know. Things rise and then they fall. The tides come in and then they go out. It is night and then it is day. Things do not always stay the same. They go up, they go down. They go up, they go down. Choosing to kill your bloodline because you're in the down phase right now is at the height of stupidity. RH asks, what will happen if the world is ruled by gay people? Here's what will happen if the world is ruled by gay people. Go to your window, open the curtain, and look outside. That's what will happen if the world is ruled by gay people. If the world is ruled by gay people, the world becomes suicidal because gay people, by definition, do not have children. If you do not have children, you do not continue the bloodline. If you do not continue the bloodline, you commit suicide. This is why gayness is an abomination to nature, because it does not increase your survival. It ensures your demise. Now go look out the window. The people you see outside of your window, are they fighting for their survival or are they okay with their demise? When I look out the window in the United States, I see people who are okay with their own demise. Not only are they okay with it, they embrace it, they celebrate it, they love it. That is a suicidal culture, which is what homosexuality is. A race to suicide. There was a transsexual in Australia, a man dressed as a woman who went into a mini mart at 2 o'clock in the morning holding an axe. This man then smashed another man in the face with an axe and then smashed a woman in the head with an axe. This is attempted murder by a mentally ill man dressed as a woman. This man got 4.5 years in prison. You know why? The world is ruled by gay people. The world is not ruled by straight men. There is no patriarchy. There is a gay-triarchy. That's the world we live in. That's the Western world. The Western world is a gay man with his butt cheeks open, ready and willing to get fucked. Dan asks, hey Vic, I'm amazed how quickly my body has responded to the 10 push-up per minute routine. Just 2 weeks ago, I could not get past 300. Now I'm up to 550 minutes after just 2 weeks. I tell you what, friends, the push-up routine mixed with my 1 meal a day routine, mixed with some 48-hour fast, mixed with red growth has absolutely transformed my physique. My physique changed in a matter of 1 week. Every day when I go look in the mirror, I look different. And I've got to think red growth, 1 meal a day, mixed with some occasional fasting, and the push-up routine. It has absolutely changed my physique. I look like I'm on steroids now. Red growth is as good as the steroid Tyrannobol. It is as good as some steroids, specifically Tyrannobol. And I would suggest, friends, if you want to make some great gains, get on red growth before it becomes banned, because sooner or later, they ban everything that actually works. You know why they ban everything that actually works? They want to hold a monopoly on everything that works. This is a law of nature. Of course, they want the resources. They take it from the weak. They take everything from the weak so they can have all of the power. They can hold all of the cards. And you know what? The law of nature demands that they do that. So get you some red growth at redsupplements.com before it is banned, because sooner or later, it's a guarantee it will be banned. King Dog asks, Vic, what is your view and experience on working the same body part every day? Working the same body part every day is a secret to making that body part bigger. If you want to make the body part bigger, work it every single day for a month, take a week off, then go back to working that body part twice a month. And you will have huge amount of growth in that body part. Huge amount of growth. So if you want to build your chest, go to the gym 6 or 7 days a week and do your bench press 6 or 7 days a week for an entire month. Then take a week, possibly 2 weeks off, and then start training your chest twice a week. You will experience massive growth by doing this. This is one secret of building up any weak body part. Train it every day for a month, take 1 or 2 weeks off, then go to training it 2 times every week. You will get phenomenal results doing that. Jonathan asks, hey Vic, what do you think about global warming today? It is a serious issue which has a lot of environmental consequences. Why are the governments not doing anything to stop it? Well, Jonathan, would you like the government to come over to your house and wipe your ass for you after you take a shit? They'll do it. They'll just use sandpaper, toilet paper, and make your ass bleed. When you outsource everything in this world, you get shittier results than if you just took care of things on your own. So men who ask the governments to do things for them are not men. They're not men. I do not respect any man who says, why isn't the government doing anything to stop this? When you ask the government to come in and do things for you, you're asking to get fucked. The government's not going to make things better for you. Every time you outsource something, you're going to get worse results than if you just took care of it yourself. If you want the world to be better, stop littering. Stop throwing your trash around. That's the number one thing you can do to make the world better. Regarding global warming, it isn't real. It's a ruse to take more from you. And if you're too stupid to see that, then you deserve to get everything taken from you. And that's exactly what will happen with the global warming scam. They will take everything from you. Jamie asks, hi Victor, would you do an illegal thing to get money if it weren't any risk of getting caught? Or would you recommend keep working only on your business? Okay, I'll tell you what, friends, most people who make a ton of money do it illegally. However, they buy themselves enough power that they don't go to jail, they don't get caught, they don't face any consequences, because there is no such thing as justice in the laws of nature. There's no such thing as justice. Go take a look at nature. Go take a walk in the savannah. Tell me, where is justice? There's no such thing as justice. Justice is a man-made concept that simply has no natural counterpart. Now, regarding laws don't exist to keep you safe. Laws exist to keep power in somebody else's hands and away from you. That's why laws exist. Laws are not there to make society better. They're not there to protect people. They're not there to keep people safe. They're there to fuck you. That's what laws are for, to keep the power in their own hands. So when you understand what laws actually are, they become meaningless. Now, I'm not suggesting you break the law, because if you break the law, you may go to jail. You may get caught, you may do hard time, or even worse. So I don't suggest you break the law, but I do want to point out to you what laws actually are. They're ways to keep the power out of your hands and in the hands of the people who currently have it. That's what laws are for. Stan asks, what are your views on the British Empire? The British Empire was the largest and most powerful empire in history. I'll tell you what, friend, I'm an American, so I don't like the British. We escaped them. We escaped the limey bastards and we created our own country. And it was the greatest country in the world for a period of time until it went into suicidal decline. So my thoughts on the British Empire are not a great big fan of it. Not a great big fan of what they did. Everywhere the British went, they made it worse, not better. Every place that they had a colony is now worse off than before. India used to be a rich country. It is now a dirt poor country. All of the places they had a colony are today shitholes. Absolute shitholes. Here's what an empire does. It goes to another country, it conquers it, it extracts all the resources, and then it leaves it destitute. And that's their prerogative. That is a law of nature, that the strong feed on the weak. So I don't begrudge that. However, what they left in their wake is not nice. It's not pretty. And these countries that were conquered should never have been so stupid as to allow themselves to be colonized. Because now all of them are worse off. They're not better off, they're worse off. Taylor asks, Vic, there is a lot of literature indicating that supplements do not absorb into the body and are a waste of money, such as fish oil, glucosamine, etc. Besides the red supplements, are there any other dietary supplements you would recommend? Okay. Whether or not there's a lot of literature indicating that supplements don't absorb in the body is totally irrelevant. We've already discussed science and how it is a farce, a fraud. You should be able to understand that supplements obviously absorb it in the body by understanding that when you take a Tylenol pill, for example, your headache goes away. How would your headache go away if the Tylenol pill did not absorb into your body? How would people who take steroids or something like red growth, how would their muscles get bigger if the supplements did not absorb it in their body? See what happens when you outsource your belief to science and you say supplements don't absorb in the body, when that flies directly in the face of trial and error. You take a pill, you have a difference, it obviously works. If you took the pill, you would know that right away, that it did absorb. So what the science says is plainly irrelevant. Now regarding supplements, I would recommend there is one really great, really cheap supplement that you can go to your local grocery store, your local Walmart, purchase for a very cheap price, take it, and will make a massive difference in your body. I'll tell you what it is a little bit later. Brandon asks, how does one avoid deficiencies with micronutrients if one cannot stomach the taste of offal, besides just sucking it up and gagging it down? Okay, offal means the entrails of an animal, the liver, the heart, kidneys, etc. There is a myth that on the all-meat diet, there are deficiencies in micronutrients. This could not be further from the truth. There are literally no deficiencies in the carnivore diet. You think that you must supplement your carnivore diet with plants. The reality is that plants do not digest well in the human digestive tract. The reality is that there have been cultures of the past, in fact, many cultures of the past, that lived exclusively on all-meat diets. The Inuit of Alaska and northern Canada, for example. The Inuit lived on a completely all-meat diet, no plants whatsoever. They were noted for their extreme happiness and extreme health. The reason they died early was because of fishing accidents or starvation or things like this. However, they were a very, very healthy, vibrant people, and we have evidence of this. The Arctic explorer Vilhjalmur Stefansson went and lived with them for a great number of years and studied them and lived with them and ate the same diet they ate and came to the conclusion on this diet there are no deficiencies because he experienced it himself through trial and error. He actually ate the diet and felt the way that they felt. Now, he had one interesting tidbit that he said. He said that you do not have to eat the offal. He said that is a myth. The Inuit never ate the innards of the animal. They never ate the liver. They didn't eat the heart. They didn't eat the brain. They actually fed all of the offal to the dogs, and they ate the muscle meat themselves. So I found that very interesting to know that, in fact, you do not have to eat the liver, the heart. If you don't want to, you can live solely on muscle meat. And in fact, there are people who live on nothing but ribeyes, who live on nothing but steak. Jordan Peterson, Sean Baker. I've even read interviews with an entire family that lives on nothing but ribeyes. So in the meat of the animal, there are no deficiencies. It is the perfect diet for the human. And you don't even have to eat the most nutrient-dense foods to get benefit from it. Now, I eat the liver. I like liver a lot. I like heart. I do enjoy eating those foods. They taste great to me. They taste absolutely phenomenal to me, so I do eat them. But it is not a vital necessity that you do eat them. In the muscle meat of the animal lies everything you need for proper human health and nutrition. Jacob asks, I believe that the carnivore diet is the ideal diet for human beings. That being said, I think it is weird that we have amylase in our saliva. Why do we have amylase in our saliva if we are naturally carnivores? Okay, amylase is used to help pre-digest carbohydrates in the mouth. Now, when we talk about a zero-carb diet, it's not actually true because there are trace amount of carbohydrates in many of the foods that we find because there are trace amounts of carbohydrates in the animal foods. Specifically, there are carbohydrates in liver, there are trace amounts of carbohydrates in eggs, there's definitely carbohydrates in milk. So the human does not actually eat a zero carbohydrate diet. It eats a very low carbohydrate diet, but it is never a zero carbohydrate diet. When you're born, the only food you ingest is milk, which has a very significant carbohydrate content. As you grow older, you wean off of the milk and you start to eat the muscle meats, which have very, very, very low amounts of carbs, but there is always a certain amount of carbs in nearly all of the foods that we eat. Some of the foods have more carbs than others. Liver, for example, has a pretty decent amount of carbohydrates. Eggs, for example, have a few amount of carbohydrates. Even the muscle meat has a very minuscule amount of carbs, but they are in there. So the human eating a natural diet still is getting a low number of carbohydrates, but is still getting carbohydrates. John asks, hey Victor, I just wanted to get your thoughts on the vertical diet. I've been following the carnivore diet for the last 6 months, but just lacked a little bit of energy at the end of my workouts. Basically, the vertical diet is white rice and steak. I have found that introducing just white rice, my gut has been okay and has been giving me a boost. I have added no other carb sources. Your thoughts on this? The Japanese have been eating white rice for years without issue. Okay. White rice, I feel, is probably one of the better carbohydrate sources. I feel that wheat and corn products are absolutely the worst. So bread and things made out of corn, I feel that those are the worst carb sources to eat. I did eat rice at the airport. I told you about it. I had chicken and rice. It was the first time I had rice in about 8 months. And I don't feel that the rice was too bad for me. So if I were going to eat carbs, and this man says he was eating carbs to give him an extra boost, I assume in the gym, that I think I would include a little bit of rice. And I think what I will do at some point after I kill all the carbohydrates in my system, I will eat rice again and record exactly how I feel and how my workout is the day after while eating rice, so I can give you a more informed opinion. Of course, rice is not totally natural for the human. Any food that you have to cook is completely unnatural to the human. You cannot eat raw rice. So it is unnatural food. There is no animal in nature that cooks its food. No organism on the face of the earth eats cooked food except for humans. So we know that it is not a natural food. Does that necessarily mean that it is totally harmful for us? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. I will try to eat some rice in the future and see exactly how I feel while doing it. I do notice that the carnivore diet has pretty much healed my gut. I can eat foods now that I was not able to eat before and have very little issue. For example, I told you I ate rice. Did not have a big issue with that. I believe my brain fog issue was from the fresh squeezed orange juice, which is very high in sugar. So that is one thing I highly recommend for people. Even if you don't want to follow the carnivore diet long term, give it 30 days, 35 days, 45 days on the all meat diet, because it can help heal your digestion. It can help heal your gut. These days I can take coffee where I was not able to take coffee before. I could eat a plate of rice, whereas before rice would have given me massive indigestion. I can eat all kinds of things and not have as bad of effect as I used to have. Of course, some foods give me terrible effects, and I stay away from those, wheat being the worst one. Wheat is the one food I want to stay away from completely. Nikhil asks, Vic, red beast seems to be turning my piss orange. Is that normal? What's in it that causes that? I don't know exactly what's in it that causes that, but I get the same effects when I eat kidney or liver. For whatever reason, kidney and liver turn my pee-pee almost neon yellow. So I don't know if it's the flood of nutrients, the flood of the supplement. I don't exactly know what it is. I know that the same thing happens to me when I eat the most nutrient-dense foods in the world. So Tommy asks, Vic, I'm on the carnivore diet thanks to you, but sometimes my family goes out to eat. Of course, I order meat, but would like some wisdom on the side dishes. What are some good sides to order at most restaurants that will comport with the carnivore diet? What do you usually order when you go out with family or friends for a meal? Okay, I am the jerk that says, no, I'm not going to go out to eat with you. And I do that for a very specific reason. I do not like restaurant food whatsoever. It does not make me feel good at all. It makes my stomach hurt. And restaurant food in the United States has always made my stomach hurt. I have never enjoyed the after effects of eating at a restaurant. So these days, I simply don't go. I was 6 months in America. I went out to a restaurant one time. Here's what I ordered. Steak. That's what I ate. So regarding side dishes in the United States, as far as I can tell, there are no good side dishes in the United States. The side dishes are usually mashed potatoes mixed with oil, macaroni and cheese mixed with oil, cornbread cooked with oil. So I simply don't go to the restaurants in the United States, and I'll just tell friends and family right to their face, no, I'm not going to eat this. I might go and watch them eat. I've done that. That's kind of a party pooper move, but I'm not willing to risk my health and my well-being to eat a meal that I don't enjoy eating and makes me feel like shit. So simple as that. Tyler asks, hey Uncle Vic, I'm 22 years old with a torn disc in the middle of my back. Chiropractic care, injections, and physical therapy all help with the pain but do not actually heal me. I recall you having back issues when you did the Full Color Godcast and only being able to drive SUVs because the pain was so bad. How did you end up healing your back, and do you have any back issues that still come and go? Okay, I did heal my back issues. I do have a full answer for you, and I believe that my answer will heal you. But what do you say we cover that in the next episode of the Bold and Determined podcast? I will start off by explaining my back issues, which were severe, and how they have completely went away through following the routine, diet, and this #1 supplement that I take that absolutely cured all of my back pain. We'll talk about that next time. And until next time, friends, have a nice day.